Welcome to Fantasy or Reality, the GPP. Whatever road you took to get here doesn't matter. What matters is you're here. My hope is that we all can help one another in this journey.
Welcome back to Fantasy or Reality. It's you and me on this path of recovery. Come join me on this journey. Welcome back, ladies and gents. It's your lovely host, CVD. I'm happy to be back. It's been another 3 weeks since I've done an episode. And we're going to talk about this and that and a few things here and there. I'll talk about a few things of deep understanding and meaning. And I will also talk about hanging out with my best buddy, Johnny C. Go back and listen to that episode. I forget which one it is, but it's... I don't know, around 15 to 16. Yeah, so let us start there. So this past weekend, my family and I went down to Long Island, where I'm from, and we went to my sister-in-law's birthday party, which was a lot of fun, hanging out there. We took the kids to the pool, and we just, spent some time with family, and that's always great to do. Yeah, it was crazy. It was like torrential downpouring at one point, but it was really cool seeing my sons swimming in the pool with their life vests on. When only just a few weeks or months ago, they were even a little bit nervous to get in the pool. So it's cool to see their progress there. But yeah, after we spent a few hours at my lovely sister-in-law's house, my lunchy, as we call her, because we had a nice lunch together one time. The last time we came to Long Island, she gave us a treadmill, which I think our kids use more than anyone. After we left her birthday party, we went out to the town I grew up in, east end of Long Island, and hanging out with my best buddy, Johnny C. And it's always so awesome to see him. I miss hanging out with my buddy. Life gets crazy as you start adulting, and sometimes I wish I could just hang out with him more. But even when we live right down the street from each other, we didn't get to see each other too much because we both were working like maniacs. But it was awesome going down to Long Island, going and hanging out with Johnny. He got this electric bike. I'd never ridden on one of these things before. And when he first told me he rode this thing to work from where we grew up to Orient Point, at first I was like, that must take forever. But he told me it takes 40 minutes, which is awesome. So he's like, why don't you give it a try? So, of course, I jumped on it. And it goes 20 miles an hour. And doesn't seem like a lot, but when you're just on a regular bike going 20 miles an hour, that was awesome. Going around just the area at first, feeling a wind blow against my face, and I don't know, just kind of was very soothing and freeing, and it was just kind of cool riding the bike around. Sorry for the coughing. But one of the things I did when I was riding on the bike was go by the house that I grew up in from the age of 12 and on, which was right down the road. And my parents sold that house last year. Was it last year? Yeah, it was, I don't know, it's maybe a little over a year ago. Doesn't matter, but that whole town has turned into, or it's turning into what the South Fork is. I don't know how many of you even know what Long Island is or where Long Island is or whatnot, but the South Fork is where East Hampton, Montauk, it's the land of the rich and famous, but 50 years ago, it was a fishing town, fishing village. It was, just working class people, and it slowly became this destination for the ultra wealthy. And now that's what the North Fork is becoming. The housing is getting crazy. It's skyrocketing, which is why we left back in 2018, and it's only getting worse. But anyway, so my parents sold their house to move up by us, and
the people that bought it are basically using it as a second home, but it doesn't even look like they live there. I've gone past there a few times, and I've never seen anyone there. And this time when I went by, I saw garbage bags just in the driveway and cardboard boxes on the front of the porch, and just looking at all the overgrowth. And my stepfather used to take a lot of pride in that house, and it was just kind of sad to see it in that way. And at first I was kind of looking at it in a I don't know, I guess I was like kind of sad, like reminiscing, like thinking, oh, this is where I grew up, and now it's just this house that nobody goes in, nobody lives in. Yeah, so, and then I just rode around the neighborhood and then rode past our old school. And, I got a little sad at first, just kind of seeing the change and thinking back to the way things were. But I, didn't, I went back, went and hung out with my buddy Johnny, and just kind of left my mind. That night, us and our wives, we played some games, had some fun, and it was just really cool. And then at the end of the night, him and I watched the new Jackass movie, because we were a bunch of jackasses over here. We're both 38, so when we were teenagers, Jackass was what we watched on MTV growing up. And of course, like every other teenager at that time, even though it says not to attempt these stunts, this, and this, blah, 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 of course you're going to attempt your own stupid stunts. So, of course, we videotaped a bunch of stupid stuff that we did back then, some of which Johnny Boy used in his best man speech for when Kelly and I got married. Yeah, anyway, so, it was just cool to, after having, I didn't get to spend a lot of time there. We got there in the evening and had to leave the next day to come back because I had to be at work Monday morning. But it was just fun being able to sit there and laugh with old Johnny Boy. Yeah, I always love going down there and just getting to see my buddy. But, of course, it's never enough time. I didn't get to see everyone I wanted to see. There's never enough time. But I enjoy the time I get. But anyway, so like the next morning, we got breakfast. John had to go to work. But my wife and I went and got breakfast for his wife and all our kids. And came back, ate breakfast, and I had to leave around 12 o'clock. And when I left, I... just on a whim, I was like, let me just drive around the town quick. Go down and drive around back by where I used to, the first apartment that Kelly and I had in Southold. And just kind of driving around. And at first, it was the same thing as it was the night before. I'm driving around, I'm looking at these places, and at first I'm getting sad, wishing that things were back to the way they were. But the further I drove along, each road it felt like, or each beach I drove by, or sometimes even just a part of a road, I would be reminded of a memory from either my childhood or silly things that John and me and my other friends used to do, or, Kelly and I's first apartment, and, when we first got married and when we first started having kids, and I remembered all these great memories, and I was able to kind of reframe my thinking, and instead of being sad and upset that the town isn't the same town I grew up in, and a lot of the people are gone, moved on, passed away, just not there anymore. It's not the same town. It doesn't have that same, hometown vibe or whatever it used to have. Now I, as I was driving through and getting ready to leave the town, I really started to think about how grateful I was to grow up in a place like that, around the beaches and the people I knew, the memories I had. And it really was, even though there were some difficult parts of my childhood growing up, I still had a lot of great times growing up in that town. And I'm just grateful that I got to have that. Anyways, so, I kind of bring this up because, I mean, yeah, it's just recently what happened. Um, Going back down to Long Island and kind of like learning to reframe how I think about things. Um, and just trying to, like, I don't know, man. I spent so much of my life, I don't know, doubting myself and worrying and not being present and not enjoying the moments of life. I mean, it wasn't always like that, but I mean, I spent too much time like that, especially in active addiction. Um, so, you know, now I've really learned how to enjoy the journey, not just seeking like an end result, essentially. So, for example, it's good to set goals. It's good to say and have a 5 year plan or whatever kind of 6 month plan, whatever you want to do, whatever your goals are. You want to start a business, you want to hit a year of recovery, you want to learn an instrument, you want to do whatever. For example, for me, I've really been into weightlifting and fitness over the last year, and I definitely have seen a noticeable change since last year. I probably lost 30 pounds and put on a lot more muscle, so I feel like I can look like a different person than I did last year towards the end of my addiction. I'm not where I'd like to be, but I'm not so much worried about the end result like I used to be when I used to weightlift when I was in my 20s. It had to be like I got to get this crazy body as fast as possible, which is why I would resort to using steroids or resort to creatine or work out 6-7 days a week, using every possible thing I could, making it the focal point of my life, because I just was like I wasn't going to be happy no matter how much weight I lifted, no matter how good I looked or how big I was getting, or I wasn't going to be happy until, I looked like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Ronnie Coleman at that time, just as big as humanly possible. And now, I I enjoy the workout, even like having to get up at sometimes 3:30 in the morning, right? I got to be at work at 5 o'clock a lot of the times, and I'm like 20 minutes from work, so I go in a half an hour early, and I do my workout. And now, instead of worrying so much about the end result, about looking as great as possible, even though I'm very happy with where I've progressed at this point, I can enjoy each workout. Like after I got off work today, because Kelly and the kids are still down on Long Island visiting family, I was able to work out after work, and instead of getting up early while they're not here. And I really enjoy the workouts now. I really enjoy the process, the journey. I like to say that word journey here. It's I'm journeying over here. No, but seriously, I've learned to like enjoy each day, enjoy each moment, enjoy sometimes each set about how it makes me feel. I enjoy making the right choices. Nutritionally, even if I have like a bad day or a bad few days, I don't drop off like I used to. Like I didn't eat great this weekend, but right back at it Sunday when I got home. I've talked about before in other episodes about balancing my fitness life and my nutritional. I don't want to call it a diet because it's not a diet. It's more just like a way of changing the way I have eaten over the last few years. Yeah, so I've learned to enjoy the journey as opposed to just being so focused on this end goal, as if I'm gonna hit some weight or some body fat, or my muscles are gonna be some size, and then that's when I'm gonna be happy. No, it's the progress. It's the day after day, getting the good workout in, getting the good meals in, and feeling accomplishment and feeling I can be proud of myself and be proud of the things I've done. And you know, the way I look and the way I feel is just the byproduct of that. It's just the confirmation that I'm doing the right thing, and I'm keeping myself healthy. And it's not so much about the appearance anymore. It's about the continually making of right choices. Making that next right choice, which is what is said a lot in the programs, GA, NA. Also, I've learned to really enjoy really focus on enjoying time with family. Like, I don't look at my phone at all anymore when I'm with my family and my kids. Sometimes my wife and I will watch TV at the end of the night or something like that. But we're just hanging out together. But being able to hang out with my kids and enjoy the time with my kids, and just being grateful that I'm giving them the best childhood possible. I want them to be happy and grow up happy, well-adjusted adults. I want them to have a good childhood, and I enjoy spending time with them and time with my wife. Even after I've worked a 14 or 15-hour day, if they're awake when I get home, I'm hanging out with them, and which is one of the reasons I started working out in the morning. I didn't want to. It's not wasting time, but I didn't want to have to dedicate time in the evening to working out. I didn't want to set aside that 30, 45 minutes while they're home, while they're awake. And that was the only time I could do it at first, and now that's why I go in the morning and sacrifice a little sleep so I can get that time with my family when I get home. And, even if it's like a car ride, like on Saturday when we drove down to Long Island, I had my boys with me in the car, and it was just fun getting to have my kids with me in the car. They're 8 and 4 now, and it's like they're really at these cool ages where, we laugh and we play and we're silly, and I'm just really grateful. I really am. I love my family, and they're not here right now. I'm glad they're having fun with other family on Long Island, but I miss the heck out of them. Yeah, I'm very grateful for that. And the last thing I've really learned to do is enjoying moments at work, even on a tough day. I used to wish my days away, and I work a lot of hours. I'll be at work at 4 or 5 in the morning, sometimes not getting done till 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. 12 to 16-hour days. And when you're wishing those days away, life can go pretty quick. But now, I still have tough times, tough days, but I don't get angry like I used to. When there's issues at work, I don't get angry. I just kind of go with the flow. I've kind of just turned into this go with the flow kind of guy. And I go into a lot of mountainous areas around a lot of lakes. I deliver to a lot of camps now. It's the summertime. And I get to enjoy the drives in between. I still have to be very aware of my surroundings because I'm driving a tractor trailer through some very mountainous areas. And people drive like maniacs, and I'm not even just talking about people in cars, just tractor trailer guys that drive like friggin' maniacs too. I mean, this morning, I swear, it was like, this dude's flying up on me. I'm passing a truck. I can only go 65, 66. This guy's going 62, so it takes me a minute to pass him. This guy comes up to me, behind me, is flashing at me. I'm like, what is this dude's problem? Dude, you understand? You driving a truck? And I get in front of this truck, and I pull off to the side and get in front of him, and then this guy goes by me, and I see he's videotaping as he goes by. It's like, dude, calm down. What are you gonna create a stupid video for your TikTok? Whatever, man. But I just kind of laughed it off and was like, okay, you want to be angry, you want to be upset, you lost 30 seconds, that's fine, man. I'm gonna listen to my podcasts, or this past weekend, or Bill Burr, or whatever I'm listening to at the time, and just enjoy my ride down, drink my coffee, and just be grateful. What else? What else has this old dude learned over here? 38, getting whites on my face. I don't know what is going on with that. I'm 38, and I'm looking like I'm freaking 58 over here instead of 38. I'm getting whites in my facial hair. I'm getting whites in my hair. It's like, man, aging. Yeah, I don't feel like 38's that old. But yeah, getting that white hair. So what's this white-haired dude over here been learning? Oh, that's right. I've been learning how to convey my thoughts and emotions better. Um, I did this recently. I spoke with a family member I hadn't spoken to in quite a long time. And I'm not going to get into specifics because I'm not, it's a family member or whatever. I don't want to call anyone out or say anything, but like whatever the thing was, doesn't really matter. It really, you know, I was talking to this family member of mine, and I tried doing the same thing last year, and I kind of was getting confrontational when they would lie, or when I knew something wasn't right, I'd try to call them out on it. Um, and I would say, you did this or you did that, or this is, or you're lying, or none of that ever works. From what I've learned, no one wants to listen when you accuse them or get accusatory. So this time, when I felt comfortable enough to discuss my feelings and discuss my thoughts, um, when I would say something and they come back with some kind of defense or would lie about something, I would just kind of let it go. I wasn't really calling to ask them to get clean or ask them to do this or that anymore. I understand active addiction and I understand addiction, and no one can change unless they're ready to change. And I also, when I was talking about like the reasons why we hadn't spoken in a year, and the reasons why I was upset and the things that hurt me over my life, I would say things, I would say it more in a way as if like, this is something that happened. I'm not judging. I'm not saying anything to make you feel bad. I'm just saying this is an event that happened, which led up to us not talking. And this is how it made me feel. And this is why it made me feel this way. I've really come to learn that that is the only way to convey your thoughts and emotions to anyone and have it actually be heard. I wish I could take credit for this, but I learned this through my lovely therapist, Joseph. And I find it's true. It's whoever we're speaking with, or at least whoever I speak to about stuff like this, I feel like I'm heard more when I keep it to just my thoughts and feelings. And anytime I try to say, I wouldn't have done this to you, or, you did this to me, it immediately reverts back to this defensive mode, and everything I've said is not heard. So I feel like I had better success this time around, and now we're back to speaking, and I hope we can repair our relationship, because I love this person, and I just want what's best for them. And even though, like, I knew that there were things that were not true during the conversation, I didn't even address it. Like, I wasn't even calling to address these things anymore. It's just, you're going to live your life. I just want you to be happy. I love you. These are the things that made me upset. These are the things I need going forward. And let's work on this from here. And we'll see how that goes. I'm not going to have any expectations. Just keep going on the journey, man. See how it goes. Man, families are tough, aren't they? You'd think you'd have like more issues with like your non-family members. You'd fight with more non-family members, but it seems like, man, I know we all have our own shit and our own stuff in our families, but yeah, that's for another podcast. We'll get into that another time. I love my family. I'm not talking about my wife and my kids, and I have a great relationship with a lot of people in my family. I don't want you to think that I don't.
But there's just a few people in my family I just have a hard time with. And I've had to set boundaries with, and I've had to, I've tried for years to make it work and give suggestions and forgive and forgive and forgive and try to move on. And sometimes you just have to do what's best for you and your own family. And those are some of the decisions I've had to make. It's kind of tough to talk about unless I give more examples, but I just don't want to do that to them. Because even though there are things that really upset me about some of these family members, it's still not fair to speak about them without them here. But life goes on. I have to focus on myself, my wife, my children, my recovery, my happiness, my family's happiness, and finding the balance in all that. Finding time to enjoy the things I do, finding time to enjoy my family, being able to play my guitar, being able to work out, and just find the happiness and good things in life. And a lot of what I've learned is come to me over the last almost 14, 15 months at this point, and I had actually just hit 13 years. I've been off the heroin. Crazy to think back about that, too. It's been 13 years since I've done any hard drugs. I know I've said this before. I had a drink on my honeymoon in like 2012, so I feel like I should move my clean date to that date in September in 2012. But at least I've been clean off any hard drugs, any drugs at all, since July 15th of 2009. Pretty crazy. I think in another future episode I might talk about what heroin addiction is like. I think I'm gonna branch off into other ideas, and this podcast is not going to only be about gambling. Like I said in the beginning, we'll see where it goes, and I'm still going to talk about gambling addiction in general. I think they're all very related. Yes, thank you for listening. Let's see. I would like to try to get some more guests on here in the future. If you are comfortable telling your story, it does not have to be a gambling story. It could be, drug addiction. It could be it could be anything, really. It could be any type of mental health disorder. So I'd like to just have people on here that have had some kind of obstacle in life, some real difficulties, and what they did to work through that, identify it, and how they're either came out on the other side a better person, or how they're working on themselves to become a better person. Because, like I said, this is a journey. There's no end date. There's no finish line. It's just about self-improvement and making your life better, one day, one moment at a time. So if you're comfortable enough to come on and share your story, whatever it may be, does not have to be gambling or drug related. It could be anything. I just kind of want to give people hope that there is a possibility for change. Like, we do not have to be stuck in the misery, regardless of what it may be, and the misery of heroin addiction, the misery of gambling addiction. Life is so much better now. I am so much happier now. And that's why I do this, to share that change is possible. Anything is possible. So thank you very much for listening. I appreciate you listening to your boys, DVD. And I will talk to you all soon. Be good to yourselves and each other. Bye.
Here's where to get help. You can call or text 1-800-522-4700. That's the National Council on Problem Gambling. Or you could call 1-800-GAMBLER, 1-800-426-2537. This is where I found the link to my therapist through my local counselor. And then also, we cannot forget our affected others. My wife goes to Gam-Anon every week, and it's been a huge help to her. So anyone in your life who you feel like needs help or you've affected through your gambling, you can go to gamanon.org, GAM-ANON.org. The number is 718-352-1671.